Welcome back. I am Manon van Middelkoop, Policy and Energy Data Analyst with Statistics Netherlands. Together with Steven, whom you've met in the previous video, I have worked with affordability indicators for energy consumption at PBL. In this video, we will introduce the payment risk indicator and combine it with the energy expenditure ratio that was introduced in the first video. The payment risk indicator is also known as the minimum income standard. Basically, the indicator states that a household is at risk if there's not enough budget left for a minimum standard of living after paying for real net housing and energy costs. The payment risk indicator requires more information than the energy expenditure ratio. By including housing costs, this indicator takes into account that energy costs can be traded for mortgage or rent payments by investing in energy-efficient homes. In addition, by including a definition or norm for a minimum standard of living, changes in other part of the household budget also affect the affordability of energy. In this study, we assumed a minimum budget as defined by the National Institute for Family Finance and Information. In this slide, you can see an example for the minimum budget for a single tenant in 2014. Living just above this minimum standard doesn't exactly imply that you make a fortune. Families and homeowners have slightly higher minimum budgets. The payment risk indicator is an all or nothing indicator. Information on the depth of the deficit or remaining budget can be used to enrich the analysis, as we will show in the next slides. Using both standards, we estimated the number of households at risk. The large majority of Dutch households neither have payment risks nor high energy ratios. Over 500,000 households have an affordability problem for housing and energy. About half of them do not have high energy ratios. The other half combine payment risks with high energy quotes or energy ratios. And finally, nearly 400,000 households have a high energy ratio without this leading to payment risks. This slide pictures the cash books or budgets of the four groups of households to gain a better understanding of their situations. The lengths of the bar indicate the average disposable income of each group. Housing costs are indicated in yellow and energy costs in green. The shaded bar is the average minimum standard for other living costs. If this shaded bar is below zero, this means that the household has a payment risk. The large group of households without payment risks or high energy ratios is a very diverse group. Sensitivity analysis show that, all other things equal, increasing the gas price by 10 cents per cubic meter will push more than 170,000 households across the lines of payment risks or high energy ratios. Payment risks and high energy ratios are concentrated in households that rent their home and in low income groups. High energy ratios can, however, also be found among higher income groups and homeowners. Households that have both a payment risk and a high energy ratio often live in older, energy-inefficient dwellings. Moreover, they have little room to accommodate changes in their household budget. Investments that lower the energy bills will only ease their situation if housing costs are not increased equally. And even then, their situation is vulnerable as their income is very low. This reasoning also applies to households that do not have enough budget to cover their living costs, but without high energy ratios. High housing costs seem to be the bad guy here. In part, this group concerns households in newly built energy-efficient homes. This illustrates the possible exchange between energy and housing costs. In addition, this group also includes younger households in small and old urban apartments. Most likely, the urban environment propels the housing costs. The energy bill is reduced by relatively small living space or by very efficient consumer behavior. If the latter behavior is instigated by financial considerations, this is an example of energy poverty. Finally, almost 400,000 households are exactly in the opposite situation. This group consists of older households in old homes with low rents or paid-off mortgages, but very high energy costs. Investments in the home will often pay off. Much can be saved on the energy bill, and households will often have some savings to dip into. This final slide summarizes the advantages and considerations for the two indicators we've just discussed. We recommend to combine the energy expenditure ratio and the payment risk indicator. This will help you to better understand the role of energy costs and other relevant factors in assessing the affordability of the energy bill. In addition, background information on households and their homes will provide leads for policymakers to develop realistic perspectives for different groups of households. We thank you for watching, and we hope that this introduction will inspire you to look at affordability of the energy bill from various angles and to get the whole picture.